And it's a green, it's four o'clock.
Yeah.
So it's like
Men
pretty long.
and
We
all
saw
men and women.
All women and.
All right, sure.
Yeah.
Well, are you ready to go?
Yeah.
All right. While you're enjoying your food, we'll get started with training for tonight. So one of the items that we can train on is ethics, and that's what we're going to do tonight. So as planning commissioners, you are functioning in a city capacity and have to follow the ethics rules that we all have to follow as well. Similar to our public officials that are elected, any city employees, we all have to follow the same code of ethics. And so this is a training that the city puts on for us every year. And so we're going to share that with you all tonight. Every year, you're also required to provide disclosures to the city. And this will explain the reason why you have to supply those and the ethical reasons for doing so. So we'll go through that and let me know if you have any questions as we go.
That's great.
Welcome to Sandy City's annual training on the Municipal Officers and Employees Ethics Act. I'll refer to this act as the Ethics Act throughout this training. The State Ethics Act is found at Utah Code Annotated, beginning with Section 10-3-1301 and ending with Section 10-3-1312. Sandy City also has similar provisions found at Sandy City Code, beginning with Section 1-3-1 and ending with Section 1-3-11. The Ethics Act applies to all Sandy City elected officers, which means the mayor and city council members, appointed officers, which includes statutory officers like your department directors, and the Planning Commission, Board of Adjustment, and other city boards and committees. And it applies to all full and part-time municipal employees. The Ethics Act does two things. It establishes standards of conduct and it describes conflicts of interest that must be disclosed, some in writing and some must be disclosed verbally. Let's talk first about the standards of conduct, gifts. Pursuant to the Ethics Act, you may not knowingly receive, accept, take, seek, or solicit, directly or indirectly, a gift, if the gift would tend improperly to influence you to depart from the faithful and impartial discharge of your public duties, or if you know the gift is primarily to reward you for taking official action. The Ethics Act doesn't provide much guidance on what a gift is. The Ethics Act describes two things. First, a substantial economic benefit tantamount to a gift. This phrase includes a loan at an interest rate that is substantially lower than the commercial rate than currently prevalent for similar loans, and compensation received for private services rendered at a rate substantially more than the fair market value of the services. Those are just two examples. Second, the Ethics Act refers to gifts of substantial value. But the Ethics Act does not define the term substantial value. The Ethics Act then tells us what is not a gift. The following four things are not gifts: an occasional non-pecuniary gift valued at less than $50, an award publicly presented in recognition of public services, any bona fide loan made in the ordinary course of business, and a political campaign contribution. Unfortunately, the Ethics Act does not provide any other guidance. Assume you work for Parks and Rec. The department has decided to request proposals to purchase new lawn mowing equipment. A friend of yours works for Short Grass Mowing Products, located in Madison, Wisconsin. Your friend calls and discloses that Short Grass Mowing Products intends to submit a proposal to the city, and your friend invites you to travel to Wisconsin to inspect and test its lawn mowing products. Of course, the city pays your travel to Wisconsin, but while you're in Wisconsin, your friend offers to take you and a coworker to a Green Bay Packers football game. The cost of the tickets is $150 per ticket. The tickets are gifts, and you should decline them. It's not always easy to determine what is or is not a gift. So the safest course for you as a city employee is, if anyone offers you anything, decline and ask your supervisor. Next, let's talk about private, controlled, or protected information that you receive or have access to as a city employee. Pursuant to the Ethics Act, you may not improperly use or disclose such information. The term improper disclosure means giving information to any person who does not have the right and need to receive the information. The term improper use means to use the information to further substantially your personal economic interest or to obtain privileges or exemptions for you or others. The terms private, controlled, and protected are defined expressly in the Government Records Access and Management Act, also known as GRAMA. The definition of those terms is beyond the scope of this training, so the safest course for you as an employee, treat all information as private, controlled, or protected, and ask your supervisor before disclosing any information. Now let's talk about using your position at the city. Pursuant to the Ethics Act, you may not use or attempt to use your city position to further substantially your personal economic interest or to obtain privileges or exemptions for you or others. Assume you work for the police department. You own investment property in Sandy City, and there's some vacant property next door. A development is being proposed for the vacant property that you believe will increase the value of your own investment property. Because of your employment, you know some of the Planning Commission and City Council members, and you use your employment relationship to persuade the Planning Commission and subsequently the City Council members to approve the development. That would be improper. The safest course for you as an employee, never use your city employment to gain any special personal advantage in a non-city transaction. Finally, let's talk about receiving compensation for assisting another. Pursuant to the Ethics Act, you may not receive or agree to receive compensation for assisting any person or business entity in a transaction involving Sandy City. The term compensation is broadly defined as anything of economic value. The term assist is broadly defined as to help or offer to help or agree to help in any way. The term business entity is broadly defined as any kind of business organization. Assume you work in the city's finance department. The city wants to hire an outside independent auditor, and as a secondary employment, you work after hours for easygoing auditors. Because of your inside knowledge of the city's finance department, easygoing auditors asks you to be the lead in getting the city's contract. Of course, you'll be paid for your work. This would be improper. It's not always easy to determine when you must disclose something and when you shouldn't. The safest course for you as a city employee is in any transaction with Sandy City in which you are involved, ask your supervisor first. There is an exception to the rule prohibiting your receipt of compensation for assisting someone in a city transaction. First, you can make a written disclosure, and second, a verbal disclosure. Let's talk first about the written disclosure. You may file a sworn statement with the mayor stating your name, the name and address of the person or business entity you are assisting or intend to assist, or in which you have a substantial interest. The term substantial interest means a legal or equitable ownership owned by you, your spouse, or your minor child, and is 10% of stock or other ownership interest involved. You must also disclose a brief description of the transaction involving the city. The sworn statement must be filed 10 days before you agree to assist or 10 days before you receive the compensation, whichever is earlier. If you're a city employee, you must also verbally disclose the same information to your immediate supervisor and other city employees who may rely on your evaluation of the transaction. Or if you're a member of the City Council, Planning Commission, Board of Adjustment, or other city board or committee, you must verbally disclose the same information to the public body of which you are a member in an open meeting. And you must disclose it immediately before any discussion regarding the transaction. Remember, the Ethics Act has two purposes. It establishes standards of conduct, and it describes conflicts of interest which must be disclosed. We've been discussing the standards of conduct, and now we're going to discuss the required disclosures. You must file a sworn statement with the mayor if you are an officer, director, agent, or employee of a business entity, or if you own a substantial interest in a business entity, and the business entity is subject to the regulation of Sandy City. Pursuant to state law, the sworn statement must be filed on 2 occasions. First, when you are first employed by the city, and second, anytime after you become employed if your position in the business entity has changed or the value of your interest in the business entity has increased. However, the city has created a form to assist you. It's called the Disclosure Statement of Interest, and city policy requires you to complete the form annually in January. However, you should complete another form during the year if during the year your position in the business entity has changed or the value of your interest in the business entity has increased. If you have any questions about completing the form or you want to get a copy of the form, contact Human Resources. You must disclose in the sworn statement the position you hold in the business entity. For example, are you an officer, director, or employee? You must also disclose the nature of your interest in the business entity. For example, do you own stock or are you a partner? And you must disclose the value of your interest in the business. If the value is less than $2,000, you don't need to make the disclosure. And life insurance policies and annuities associated with the business are not considered in determining the value of your interest in the business. If you are an officer, director, agent, or employee of a business entity, or you own a substantial interest in a business entity, and the business entity does or anticipates doing business with Sandy City, you must verbally disclose the nature of your interest in the business to your department head if you're a city employee, or if you're a member of the City Council, Planning Commission, Board of Adjustment, or other city board or committee. You must disclose the conflict to the body of which you are a member in an open meeting, and the disclosure must be made in the open meeting immediately before there is any discussion regarding the proposed business. If you have any other personal interest or investment that creates a conflict.
Do you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question. If your business is intending to do business for Sandy City, but I don't know if it's going to come before the planning commission, do you want me to disclose in an open meeting that I have a conflict?
This would be to Darian.
Huh?
This would be to Darian. That question.
So the city has put out an RFP for an economist.
Right.
We have an economist who would like to do that. I've talked to the person running the RFP, and I'll write a letter recusing myself from any interest if it comes to the planning commission.
Okay.
And I have nothing, I'm not an economist, so I don't have anything to do with it. Do I need to do that in an open meeting in the planning, or just wait and see where it goes? And then if it comes to the planning commission, I just settle.
So I think that you just need to do the written disclosure. The only time you would have to disclose it in the meeting was if it came up for discussion in the meeting.
So have we done that before, the written disclosure? I feel like I have.
Every year.
Probably. I think
January.
you do it every January, and so if something changes, then you would do it again.
Yeah.
But I think
I did it.
I think you're in violation.
I live in violation.
so.
And I blame this law for why the political system in the United States is broken, but I'll talk about that in a minute.
So if you're intending to do a transaction, I think you disclose the transaction on a case-by-case basis. It's been a while since I've read the actual statute, so I'm taking what I kind of remember out of what he's presenting. But I think that goes to the mayor. So I think you just go to the mayor with a written statement that says, you know, my company.
I'll just write the letter to the mayor and put it in the proposal.
Yeah. My company is considering doing business with Sandy City, and I'm a planning commissioner. Yeah.
And there's a form that we can also have you fill out too.
Yeah, and so the annual form, is that for like an immediate transaction? So do you change your form every time? I'm trying
You
to
can
think
file
of.
an update if that status has changed.
I
I thought that form was if you had an interest in the,
If you're
to
interested.
disclose any interest you
Yeah,
have, in the city, businesses or ownership or that.
right. But you probably already disclosed because you probably already thought that your company might do business with
I
Sam.
think they were,
Oh, okay. Well, then you'll wanna update your form too.
okay, so I need to talk to somebody about a form,
Yes.
have somebody send it to me. I have to write a letter out.
Other question?
Yeah, this law changed the politics in the United States, you know that? Because it used to be that Democrats and Republicans would go to basketball games together. And they'd sit in a skybox, and they would talk, and then they'd be friendly. But when this law was passed, I was working at the state, and they started passing these laws all over the country. Little by little, that stopped happening, and they became more involved in their own echo chamber. And pretty soon, the diversion happened. Because when it originally started, $100, $75, and $50, down to 25, and they'll go back up to 50. So, yeah, this law had well-intended meaning, but the consequences, I think, have been disastrous for us now. So, because nobody talks to each other, they just live in their own little echo chamber. It's a mess. And it's not only here, it's every state, like California to South. It's crazy. That's all. We go 1.5, Mike?
It doesn't let me. Oh.
Your personal interest or investment.
It took the
And your
ability
public
away
good,
from us to
you
do
must
that
also
now.
make a verbal disclosure of the
We
conflict
used to.
to your department head if you're a city employee, or if you're a member of the city council, planning commission, board of adjustment, or other city board or committee. You must disclose the conflict to a body of which you are a member in an open meeting. Any municipal employee who has filed a sworn statement with the mayor, which we talked about before, doesn't need to make the verbal disclosures that we're discussing under section 10-3-1307 or 10-3-1308. Finally, if you knowingly and intentionally violate the Ethics Act and the city enters into a transaction because of your violation, the city must terminate your employment and you may suffer criminal penalties. If you have any questions about the Ethics Act, please contact Human Resources or the legal department.
Well, it ended on a positive note.
All right, we'll do a collective Q&A here. True or false?
False.
Final answer? Limit is 50. Who does this apply to?
All in the above.
That's true. True or false? You may not use your city position to further your personal economic interest or obtain privileges for you or others.
Darn. No, it doesn't. I never seen that.
Accountable for that.
Never seen anybody help me. But it happens, so.
There we go. True or false? If you knowingly and intentionally violate the Ethics Act, the city enters into a transaction. Because of your violations, the city must terminate your employment.
True.
True. And lastly,
Yeah, there you go.
Bill wants to load. Very long question. So this kind of gets to the question you had. So if you own the firm or have an interest in the firm and they're doing business with the city, least 10 days before you agree to assist or receive compensation, the sworn statement must include the following: your name, entity, is it A, B, or
I think
C,
it's
or
A.
D?
I think it's
It's the most complete answer,
the most restricted.
and it's also the correct. Okay, good job.
You didn't get through college by not learning how to take tests.
That is a skill in and of
It's the
itself,
longest
isn't it?
answer.
50% chances.
Good luck. Okay. Good job.
We passed.
Wow.
Dave's gonna have to watch that on some time, right?
Absolutely. Or you can watch the video of us on his own time.
And then he can play that.
Any other questions or discussion on the topic of ethics and how it applies to you as planning commissioners in your role with the city?
I have a question. The first slide articulated a pecuniary gift. I think it said pecuniary gift. I've never in my life seen the word pecuniary.
It's
It's not a gift.
It's a little animal.
That fits inside your purse?
It's like a snipe.
I was gonna say it's a little bigger than that.
Yeah.
I think that it means it can't be cash. Even if it's less than $50, I think it means it can't be cash, but I'm gonna Google it.
Here, I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, right too.
Relating
Oh,
to
does it
or
get that?
consisting of money.
Okay.
Related to what?
So if someone gives you $20 in cash, that's not a non-pecuniary gift less than $50. But if they buy you lunch, also today, that might not be less than $50. But in case it is less than $50, that would be non-pecuniary. That's what.
So it says, means relating to or consisting of money, financial matters, or something quantifiable in monetary terms. Often used to describe losses, damages, or benefits
Which is
that are
really,
measured financially, like loss of wages as opposed to non-monetary damages, which would be non-pecuniary.
so it's really funny that they say
Pecuniary.
non-pecuniary valued at less than $50, because then obviously it is measurable. In dollars, if
So
you
anything
can
that's
determine
measurable or
worth less than
quantifiable
$50.
in
But But I think if it's a ticket or a meal or, like a t-shirt or a water cup or,
Has a value.
like the kind of things that people hand out that are just not expensive and they give them to everybody. Not to induce you to make a certain decision. Pens.
No, it's true, we do a lot of conventions and we'll buy a ton of that junk
Yeah.
and it's all under $50.
The swag.
Yeah, it's the cheapest crap. And the cost is just between me.
So the question is, can you go to the table and take one of everything
You
or?
And still be under the $50.
And it'll still be under $50.
Be about all.
Yeah,
Most
50
expensive
items.
thing at the golf ball.
50 items might equate to
But the
$5.
Yeah.
$5 to put your name on it, when you hit them, they blow.
Yeah.
They're no good for it.
That's not good for name recognition, is it?
Everything's just really cheap. I mean, the whole swag gift world is crap.
Yet I still find myself grabbing stuff at
I
those
know.
tables. Another pen that I don't need.
Or another stupid big paper clip.
Water bottles, you name it.
Some of my best pens are from the safety fair.
I missed that.
That is so.
I'm always surprised because I pick it up and use it because I can't find another one, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this really works well.
Yeah, oh. Like, yeah, as soon as I sit down, I start fishing with all those little controls. Why? Cause I can. Cause you can. And it's not about, it's just, there's nothing wrong with it, but it just needs to be different. Right. sat down, the first thing I did was adjust this thing. It's just that I had to have, like,
Whether it
do
needed
you
to be
need
adjusted.
Exactly. Yeah, if they were up, I would have moved them down. Yeah.
I love watching the people who demonstrate how to use these chairs. These, you know, we buy up a lot of furniture for our clients, and you'll have somebody come in who really understands the chair, and they'll start going through all the things, and pretty soon they're confused themselves. You have the wrong switch, and it goes down rather than up.
Oh, yeah.
They're too complicated.
And then
So remember when AT&T came out with that black phone, and it had too many buttons on it, nobody could figure out what to do with them all?
That's me. If people will say, well, you can do that, they say, is it 2 or 3 steps? If it's more, I'm not interested. I'm not gonna do it. I have no interest. Call my kids, hey, you gotta come set all my VCR stuff or whatever it is now that,
Well, the one now is light switches.
oh, yeah.
You can walk into a room like this, brand new, and there's a thing on the wall that's a panel, and it's got 12 buttons.
Yeah, the smart switch.
And you can set it to do anything. You can set it to sing to you.
Yeah.
I hate the things.
Yeah, cause you just want it to go on or
I
off.
just wanna walk into the room and have a light switch.
Yeah.
I don't know that I need to have 16 levels of dimming.
Got set the mood.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've got some mood lighting going on here. We don't have the full brightness on.
Q111 profit lights from 1990. That's planning commission right there.
Fluorescent light.
Haven't they outlawed these lights? Don't they have like mercury or something crazy?
One, a lot of other stuff.
Fluorescent crap.
Yeah. You just can't spend any more than a half hour in here.
I'm not sunburned.
Lights on.
Cancer.
We're all screwed. Spend way too much
Those of
time
you
in
that are
here.
fair skinned come out with cancer.
Right.
Or mental deficiencies.
Well, I've got that.
That's the big
Yeah, if we're done dialoguing on this topic, that's all we've got for training tonight.
Wow, that was fun.
Well, thanks. Yeah, that was.
Oh,
Riveting. It was
Oh,
really.
you thought of some.
I did think of something that I wanted to bring up with you. With our staff reports, we have tried to kind of come up with a standardized form to those things, but we're wondering for feedback from you, since you're our target audience as well as the public, if there's any things that you would like to see changed or altered or different items of information that you want, more glanceable information, any feedback that you have on our staff reports that you'd like us to incorporate and kind of make a standardized feature to, or something you see in other communities that you like.
I've always thought they were pretty thorough. I don't have any issues.
I'm not here fishing for compliments, just so you know.
No, I just, I can't think of anything that's missing.
Okay.
I think a reminder on sometimes if it's you guys know it's a heated item, so the heads up on the 2-minute rule. You know,
We should discuss that ahead of time, yeah.
Yeah, give us
Not in the report, but ahead of time, or we just do it all the time and make it standard,
That's what I would prefer.
Probably be better if we do that.
and not just pick between meetings,
I
which
think
meeting
that-
we do
I think
it.
you upset people when they're used to coming and it's like they can talk for 20
Forever.
minutes, and then all of a sudden you go 2 minutes, and then all of a sudden they're pissed off. Even before they've stood out.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, if it's a lot of people want to talk, we try to limit it to 2 minutes. I just think we ought to do it as a standard.
City council does it as standard.
Yeah, I think.
They
that's
do
right.
3 minutes just as a straight standard.
Because we've
That's
had
fair
those
and
people,
equitable.
we've had those people show up with 17 pages of written stuff that they want to stand there and read. You know, they read like the first 3 pages and then cut them off.
And they can always
It'd be
provide
good-
it in writing.
It'd be good for them to know that it is only 2 minutes and they could write their talk in 2 minutes.
Sometimes they send us an email and then they read it to us when they
Yeah.
get there. It's like,
I have a question.
That's never happened before.
I have a question. What's happening next Tuesday with the
Yeah.
city
Not to
council?
cancel.
I can go through that. So next Tuesday, in fact, I was supposed to, I'll do it now instead of my director's report, but we have time. So next Tuesday is kind of the kickoff meeting for our development code rewrite. We haven't done it since 2013. And with the new general plan approved, it's the great time to do it, because we're implementing a lot of the things in the general plan and so forth. So Tuesday night is the first meeting with our consultant to kick that process off. Somas?
Somas?
Yeah. And it should only be about 45 minutes long, they're saying. So what they're gonna ask you to do next Tuesday night, we're not gonna have it in the multi-purpose room. You're invited for dinner at 4:30. And then we would just go in the chambers where we meet. They're gonna ask all of you to come up and sit up there so you can listen to the presentation with them. And then we'll go through the presentation and answer questions, and that's really what all it is on Tuesday night. And then after that, though, they're gonna take a few minutes and report on their housing workshops that they did. They have a final report now ready for that, because that's gonna be a big deal that we're gonna give to the consultant, to some direction and some things that they want included. So they're asking you or inviting you, you don't have to, but they've moved that up right behind, so if the planning commission wants to hear that, they think that would be a great opportunity for you to hear that as well, because that's gonna affect a lot that we do as well.
How are they gonna get solid advice?
They'll have chairs up there.
Extra.
Yeah.
Labs.
Yep.
You'll all have buddies.
What's the time?
Shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah.
I guess we won't have these.
And then once the first discussion is over, just so it's not awkward, I told them I'll tell you, they ask us to mention to you, once that first is over, if you're staying for the housing workshop, or not the workshop, but the housing presentation, which is supposed to be about 15 minutes is all, come back down and sit and then just kind of watch that normal, because it will be kind of crowded to stay up there longer. So Cindy Sharkey's gonna ask for you to go down at that point, but she asked me to bring that up so it didn't seem awkward that she's not kicking you off. She's just, yeah. At that point, she's just gonna have to go down and sit with staff and
She's the chair.
that part. She is right now. Yeah.
So 4:30
Yeah.
for dinner, and then what time does the presentation start?
5:15.
5:15.
So there's,
So 6.
if you don't show up by 4:30, that's okay.
Okay.
But
So 4:30.
If you-
Unless you want dinner, then.
If you want
have to
dinner,
do
then
it.
4:30 is when you.
dinner
wanna
starts
come.
at 4:30, but you can kind of come and grab his.
They would love for you to come and mingle and eat dinner there too. That's what they have
So
told
that's on
me.
the 10th, right?
Yeah,
Are you gonna record that? I can't be there then.
the whole night's recorded.
All city council members.
Yeah, so you can.
Just on the council minute.
Absolutely, yep. They video it so you can watch the, and that's a great.
1.5 or 2.
Two.
Yeah.
Two speakers.
Yeah. But that's a good comment, so thank you. If you can't be there, there's always that, you can always go in and watch it too. So that's a great point.
So it's dinner and then
Dinner and a movie.
a movie,
Yep,
and then we sit at the dais immediately.
yeah,
We just walk up and sit there.
Yeah.
And then she kicks us off.
yes.
And we can stomp out.
Well, hopefully,
That'll be bad.
Allow me to stomp the back.
hopefully you come down and sit and watch 15 minutes, because they're hoping you'll watch the housing thing that they went through and kind of the report, so you can kind of see the direction that they're giving the consultant through their report.
And it'll be information that will likely come back to you in the form of a code amendment.
Who's the housing consultant?
It's the same as Somas. It's our land development code update consultant.
Well, the one that if you're talking about the report they wrote, that's just an in-staff workshops that the council held.
That's
Their own staff had written
That's
this,
the housing thing.
yeah, that they're presenting. That's their own staff that's just put together what they went through.
But our consultant will be there
The
sharing
city
that
council had
information.
multiple meetings on it, right?
Like 5 last fall.
Yeah.
That's-
Yeah.
They have
Pretty good.
land planning and
Do that.
consulting. There are quite a few planners that they.
I have a question back to the 2-minute thing and whatever. So if someone gets up there and they're being a little bit agitated and or calling out people in the city, or like, what do you do? Or
You just go through it. It happens all the time. The one guy got really, and that's when we kind of interrupted and said, hey, he didn't come to city council, by the way. I don't think
No.
his family brought him.
Listen to this.
So that's where our chair would also wanna step in and make sure to keep the quorum in the room.
Just say, hey,
If
that's
someone is-
that's inappropriate,
That's the role of the chair to address that.
no
Have you
personal
ever had to
targets
tell
of
someone
Mr.
that
Warner.
their time is up, or that they have to stop because they're being
Yes.
so?
Really, Mike's right. I mean, that's, you don't have, I mean, that really is up to the chair to control that and say that that's not what we have here, that's unacceptable. You know, if it gets really out of line.
Or if they start addressing
I've had a
other
lot that
people
we
in the room
just
rather
kinda-
than you as the planning commission, that's also the role to say, sorry, you're directing your comments to us, not to the city engineer,
And
whoever.
then the guy with him was taking pictures of us all. and-
They can do
I
that.
know
It's a
they can
public
do
meeting.
that, but it was, yeah. it's
Just smile away.
Smile away.
You might use number one.
Word.
You show them.
Is there, if, not force isn't the right word, but if it gets a little unruly, do we have?
I do. I have a mechanism to have a police officer come up if I need him
Okay.
really quick.
And you guys,
The chamber is.
We've
you
said
guys
on-
could do a recess and leave if you're wanting, like, the audience to get taken care of by staff. So, I mean, if it really is that bad, you could request a recess and, do they do recess by motion?
Yes.
Yeah, so you would just do a motion and say,
slip from the back
I'm gonna
to
take
the
a
council.
recess and,
I haven't seen that happen.
no.
And but that guy was fairly rude last time, but you know what? We get shots taken all the time at us. I mean, we live with most of it, but if it got to the point where you feel threatened, you know, I would have an officer come up. And if we know a meeting is gonna be controversial ahead of time, we always have an officer come to our meeting ahead of time.
Just to have that presence to, you know, remind people that they need to
That helps.
be on their best behavior, or they'll take care of it.
If you ever wanna see really bad attendance at public meetings, you can sometimes find video on YouTube. Unless that's gonna scare you away from being planning commissioners, then don't, forget I said it, then fine.
Just watching that.
Yeah, I take it back.
I work with. One of the things you may wanna do is put that thing on the agenda.
I think it is.
It is on the.
It's at the end of
We
the
just haven't
agenda.
followed it closely.
There's a meeting
Okay.
procedure that we always put on the.
It's in your
agenda.
bylaws too.
And does it say?
Yeah, just so that everybody gets it, you can refer to it
That's-
today.
yeah.
It's on our
And then on
agenda.
your.
I just think you have to realize that these are emotional issues.
Public notices.
Yes. And they get upset and they don't like being in front of people, so they're nervous to begin with. And then, you know, it doesn't go the way they think it's gonna go, or somebody gets up and says something that pisses them off. And, you know, it's just, humans have emotions.
It's very honored at city council. They have very little problem with it because they've done it a while and they've stayed consistent with it. And people get up and do their, and they go, but they are very strict on interrupting them. It would be like Dustin, the council, director, who sits over, which would be kind of me, he's very strict at saying your time is up. And if they still don't leave, the attorney says your time is up. And usually that by that time they're, you know, they leave. They very seldom have any problems with it. People respect it at city council quite well. And I think it's just, it's expected. They have that, they use that big thing on the wall, and so it's beeping right at you. Boom, boom.
We have not
On
used
your
that, but we can if that's something you want us.
I'll just use, I mean, we can just clock it for now and see how it is.
2 minutes is a standard. I think that
Yeah,
helps
that's
too,
limited
because
to
then
2
they don't
minutes
get
in the
quite saying,
disclosure.
because I think sometimes they wind themselves up.
Well, a lot of them, 2 minutes is the same thing over and over again. Because a lot of them get up and say the same thing, and so 2 minutes is good to say the same thing over and over again.
I say it 2 times, 3 times.
Yeah. But, I mean, you have to be respect, like you said, because it can make people a little bit
We have
agitated.
used a script in the past that kind of provided that disclosure. If you want that, Chair, we're happy to provide that too. Want to read that out, just put everybody on notice, or do it by heart, or however you want to do it.
That's what they do at city council. They put people on notice, say, here's what's expected, and we're only gonna give this much time.
Yeah, they're
They do it right at the beginning of the meeting.
It helps. I think we did that.
Yeah. If we knew we were gonna have a meeting, but I don't really feel comfortable going back and forth between meetings and trying to decide which one. If it's our policy, we just stick with the policy for every meeting. So we're consistent and we follow our policy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's.
Do it, and I will be the one then over there who says your time is up. Because you guys shouldn't have to, you guys aren't doing the watching on the time. I'll just say, hey, your time is up. And if they don't leave, then I'll send Mike down to remove them.
The most intimidating one of all of us.
Big shepherd, but.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll send Darian now. But Bill, that, that your things are supposedly bulletproof to go down under.
Was the table bulletproof?
That's what I'm told. Yeah.
It's never been tested.
Yeah, it's never been tested.
There's the cool question, you can just walk out, go out the
Yep.
council door.
Yep. And I do have a thing where I can call police immediately and they're here within seconds if need be.
I don't think they have learned that.
So,
Okay.
I think it's just wood.
Okay.
yeah, I don't know. the door.
6:15?
Okay.
Let's do it.
We tested it once for fun here in our
Separate.
office, the little beaper, to see if it worked, and they were up here and said, they were.
He's the last.
Oh, yeah.
I came running out, they were not.
Recording stopped.
We tested it. This wasn't big bucks, I don't see really if it worked.
Can't afford it.
Yeah.
They were here fast.
Well, and you can't do it by telling them, because they won't come if you tell them.
They were really, we said, well, we just see if it worked. Well, they were.
Plus, an image that runs
They
out.
were not drill.
Oh, this is a
That,
drill.
very certainly not. Exactly.
Oh, my God.
But
All right,
Recording in progress.
welcome to tonight's Planning Commission meeting. We'll do a quick round of introductions of staff and Planning Commission, and then we'll do a Pledge of Allegiance, and then we'll get into the agenda. You want to?
Jennifer George?
Cameron Duncan.
Lenny Davenport.
Danny Schoenfeld.
Ron Mortimer. David Hart. Steve Wrigley.
James, you want to introduce staff?
Okay, my name is James Sorensen. I'm the Community Development Director. Next to me, we have Darian Alcorn, the Senior City Attorney. Mike Wilcox is the Planning Director. Sarah Stringham, Planner over here in the office. Thomas Irvin, a Senior Planner. Quentin Spencer, Development Services Manager over here. Ivan Hooper is Transportation Engineer. Brittany Ward, Assistant Public Works Director, is with us tonight. And Aisha is our Planning Secretary.
Do a quick Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So just a quick update, or just format for tonight's meeting. We'll have a staff member introduce the topic, and then the applicant will give an opportunity to present on that, and then we'll open it up to public comment. Public comments will only be 2 minutes each, and we'll have somebody time that, and then we'll have staff bring that back and give some additional comments, and then come back to the commission for deliberation and possible action on each of those items. So the first item tonight is the WADUPS accessory structure.
I need to recuse myself on this one.
That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is the WADUPS accessory structure? Who had that one for tonight?
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Sorry, thank you.
I'll do the introduction, and then we'll allow the applicant to come up, and,
Thank you.
and then followed by our staff member. So this item is a request submitted by Doug Wattups. They are requesting a conditional use permit for a detached accessory structure, both for height and size. And this property is located at 20 Rollingwood in Pepperwood. I believe the applicant is here and can come up and make their presentation at the Planning Commission.
If you could state your name and address for the record, please.
You bet. I'm Doug Wattups,
I'm Stephanie Wattups.
live at 20 Rollingwood Lane, Sandy, Utah. As Mike said, we're requesting for a conditional use permit for a detached garage. It's, I think that the staff report did a pretty good job in showing where it would sit on the site as well as kind of the design. It's 1,940 feet, if I've got my numbers right, which would put it over by 440 feet. It's 21 feet tall, which puts it over by about a foot. The reason that it's over by a foot is we've tried to design it to kind of match the mid-century modern style of the house, fit into the neighborhood, kind of have a broken roof line and a kind of a broken front. And just in the design elements, it needed to be a little taller to make that kind of an architectural design work. You can see it'll be have the kind of character of the house to match the house. It meets with Pepperwood's requirements on the stone and the different type of surfaces. I don't know, there's a lot more to say about it unless there are questions.
Any questions from the commission? I think we're good. Thank you.
Just thought I'd go ahead and add, they have received approvals from the Pepperwood HOA, which is a requirement for the HOA that they have to get that approved, and we do like to see that that's already done before, so they have received that. Staff doesn't have any concerns, so we are recommending that this be approved as is, and the outlined findings and conditions.
Any questions? Okay, thank you. This item has been noticed to the public. Is there anybody here that would like to speak on this item? Anybody online, Mike?
If you are joining us via Zoom webinar and would like to speak to this particular item, please use the raise your hand feature now and we'll address you one at a time. I'm not seeing any hands raised.
Okay, we'll close that and bring that back to the commission for deliberation or action.
Yeah, I'm ready for a motion.
Go
Unless
ahead.
anybody has a question. Okay, I'd like to make a motion that the Planning Commission approve a conditional use permit for additional size and height, and as described in the staff report for the property located at 20 Rolling Wood Lane, based on the following two findings and subject to the 4 conditions.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Steve?
David Hart,
Yes.
Steve Wrigley,
Yes.
Ron Mortimer,
Yes.
Lenise Davenport,
Yes.
Jennifer George,
Yes.
Danny Schoenfeld.
Yes.
This motion carries.
Thank you and good luck. Next item on the agenda is the Mark Ray Medical Dental Office. Mike, do you have that one first?
Yeah, I'll introduce this item. This is a preliminary site plan review for a commercial building at the property located at 7865 South 700 East. As this is approximate to a residential neighborhood to the east and north and south, this item is required to come before the Planning Commission for further review. I believe the applicant or his architect is here today, and he can make presentation on this item, followed by Clint Spencer, who's the staff planner on this case.
My name is Robert Money. I am the architect on this project.
If you could also just state your business address as well, please.
Could you have Cameron, actually, you need to call Cameron back in, who recused himself.
Oh, Cameron's coming back in.
Okay,
Sorry.
you need to formally
Thank you.
bring him back in.
Okay, you wanna do your deal?
Oh,
You don't have to recuse yourself from this one.
Okay.
You never know.
Sorry, go ahead. Would you just state your business address, please?
Okay. At this time, we do not have a tenant. We are asking just for the shell of the building to be built. The owner is working with a dentist, and hopefully that's what we're gonna end up doing. But right now, the building is not designated. We don't have a tenant at this time. I've read all of the staff recommendations and requirements, and we have no problems with any of them.
Would you also just state your business address for the record, please?
Okay, I'm at 2457 Countryside Lane in West Jordan.
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right, good evening. As was stated, this is for just a small medical office on the corner here. It's currently a vacant lot in the BD zone, has been zoned that way since 1996. A couple of years ago, the home was removed, so they kind of made way for this project to take place. Just a couple of things about the building. It's about 2,600 square feet, 15 feet tall. You can see the finishing materials there, and there's going to be 13 proposed parking spaces. In terms of zoning considerations, some of the things we're looking at or are asking for conditions of approval is property consolidation. So currently, as we talked about on our little field trip, the property consists of two different parcels. Those will be combined, and then there will be some dedication on the north side to accommodate a 5-foot sidewalk. There are two existing driveways that are currently on the property as well. Those will need to be demolished. The applicant will have to work with UDOT on the 700 East one, but obviously the one on Ponderosa can be removed and will be replaced with the new parking approach or driveway approach. And then any utility boxes are required to be screened as well, so they'll need to provide those screening materials and such in future plans. Other than that, parking requirements for this building are satisfied with the zone. In terms of architectural design, the building does meet all of our standards. There's a couple of things that need to come into compliance with the building. One is that the roof drainage needs to be shown how it will be dealt with internally to the building instead of having an external downspout. And then in terms of the plans, some of those the landscaping, the civil plans don't quite match up. There was some discrepancy in terms of obviously the parking lot where we've got a wider park strip now, or a wider parking island. And then in terms of the drainage on a corner where the detention pond there is a different shape on its civil versus the landscape, so those would just need to come into compliance. Having said that, we do find that this is, with these conditions, the project is consistent and compliant with our zoning ordinances. And I've got the kind of an abbreviated version of the conditions on the screen there. So if there's any questions, I'm glad to answer what I can.
Any questions for staff? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
This item has been noticed to the public. Is there anybody here that would like to speak on this item? Anybody online, Mike?
If you are joining us via Zoom webinar and would like to speak to this particular item, please use the raise your hand feature now, and we'll address you one at a time. I am seeing no hands raised.
Okay, we'll close that and bring it back to the commission for deliberation and possible action.
I'm ready to make a motion, Mr. Chair.
Go for it.
I recommend that the Planning Commission determine preliminary site plan review, that the preliminary site plan review is complete, substantially complete for the proposed Mark Ray Medical Office Building at 7865 South 7th East in the BC zone, based on the 3 findings and the 10 conditions in the staff report.
Is there a second?
Second.
From Dave?
Lenise Davenport,
Yes.
David Hart,
Yes.
Cameron Duncan,
Yes.
Ron Mortimer,
Yes.
Steve Wrigley,
Yes.
Jennifer George,
Yes.
Danny Schoenfeld.
Yes.
This motion carries.
Very good. Good luck. All right, next item on the agenda is the Monroe Street Commercial Condo Amendment.
Yes, this is for a property that's located at 111 West 9000 South. They are requesting preliminary subdivision review for a proposed commercial condominium plat that would split an existing commercial development and commercial lot into 2 commercial condominiums. I believe the applicant is here and can present on this item, followed by Thomas Irvin, who's the staff planner.
If you could just state your name and address for the record, please.
Yeah, Mark Sudbury, 2220 Murray Holiday Road in Holiday. And this is a building we've owned for about 10 years. About 8 years ago, we did a pretty extensive remodel on it, and that's when we actually added the second level and the 2 spaces for the 2 tenants that are in there currently. It's been under one ownership, and we just really want to divide it out so we can put the 2 spaces under different ownership. At the time of the construction, we worked with Sandy City and the building department, and everything was permitted and approved. And at that time, we split up the meters. We put sub-meters in so we would have a way to bill both tenants separately. So really, in this case, we're not really changing anything. There's no construction changes at all on the building. It's simply to get the legal structure changed to a condominium so we can sell the 2. I just wanted to make sure we're not confused, that we're not dividing the lot either. We're not really subdividing the lot. It stays as one lot, which will be owned by the condominium association, and then the airspace will be owned by the individual tenants. So pretty much a legal change of ownership, and everything else remains the same. I believe we've worked with Thomas and got all the things done that the city wants and the building department's approval. So hopefully we're good to go, and we can get on to the plat and the CCRs. Any questions?
Any questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Thomas?
Okay, so as stated, this is basically a commercial condominium, which is treated like a subdivision amendment per our ordinance. It is in the regional commercial zoning district. They're off of 90th South. It's basically the conversion of existing commercial space into privately owned units. Primarily what staff does in this review is we make sure they meet all the plat requirements for the subdivision plat. We also have the building official go through the property to make sure there's no life safety concerns, and we make them do a capital reserve study. This is part of the state law requirements to make sure that, you know, there's the shared parts of the facility, the HVAC systems, the roof structures are all commonly owned, and they will be maintained together, and they'll be just like a standard HOA. So we make sure that reserve study's been completed and that the building meets life safety, and that the plat meets all the legal requirements of a recorded plat. That being said, we've reviewed this at great length, and we feel like it's ready to proceed, and it should be approved for preliminary review.
Any questions for Thomas? Okay, thank you. This item has been noticed to the public. Is there anybody here that would like to speak on this topic? Come on down and just state your name and address for the record. We'll have 2 minutes.
Hi, good evening, chairs and commission member. My name is Tony Lau, live in 325 East, 9125 South in Sandy.
Sir, if you could speak right into that microphone. Yeah.
Sorry. So, do I need to speak?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. So I'm here regarding the Echo Ridge subdivision. So I support the project, but I urge the commission to ensure the recorded plat and the supplement declaration accurately reflect the current physical footprint of these units before the final approval. So from the city's perspective, the integrity of these records is vital for 3 reasons. So first is the tax base accuracy. Since the last official survey of the site, the expansion has been unrecorded, specifically for the coffee shop expansion. The city approved the subdivision based on the outdated square footage. It would facilitate an inaccurate property tax base for the county assessors. And the second is the municipal record integrity. So to prevent the administrative burden of legal dispute in the future of any non-conforming footprint. I recommend the city should require a certified as-built survey as a condition for this subdivision. And the city sign off on tonight what should match the physical reality of the on 99,000 South. And lastly is the equitable infrastructure impact. The accuracy of the footprint is the legal basis for everything from fire occupancy limit to future impact fee. So to ensure these numbers recalculate, prevent the city from under-calculating the impact for these business on the local infrastructure. So simply just ask this commission to direct staff to verify the square footages in this new condominium path to match the current as-built condition, particularly for these units that have expanded since the original site
Thank
plan.
you. Thank you. Anybody else here? We'll have you come back down in just a second. Anybody else online?
If you're joining us via Zoom webinar and would like to speak to this particular item, please use the raise your hand feature now and we'll address you one at a time. I am seeing no other hands raised.
Okay, thank you. We'll close that to public comment. Thomas, do you want to speak to the, or maybe the applicant, do you want to come down and clarify that question?
So, I'm not sure I understand the comments, but I just wanted to point out that, I mean, obviously we want the records to be accurate too. But I'm not sure where the question is, because when we did the remodel, everything was recorded and approved by the city, so and it hasn't changed since then. This condominium change doesn't make any difference, but I'm not sure what it means, but we're obviously want to make sure the records are accurate.
Okay, thank you. Thomas, can you come up?
Yeah, I do. I mean, the footprint has not changed since we had the approvals and the previous building permit and the recording of the plat. It's all never changed, and it has been accurate.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. Did you want to add anything, Thomas?
Well, just that, as far as the lot itself, that hasn't changed, but for the common space, we've got that shown here. Right there, that lot 1 will not change. I think he was referring to the physical square footage of the building itself, which has been submitted on this plat, has been reviewed. And we don't require them to have it surveyed. They're obviously working with an engineer who's drafted these drawings and has given us the square footage that are here. This will also be at final, will be reviewed by the county as well. So I think all of that's going to be confirmed. It's also been visited by the building official. They've gone through all these facilities. So I think this is an accurate representation of how the structure is built.
Okay, thank you. Were there any other questions from? Okay, bring that back to us for further deliberation or possible action.
I'll make a motion.
Go ahead, Dave.
I'll move that the planning commission determines that the preliminary review is substantially complete for the Monroe Street Center Commercial Condominium located at 111 West, 9000 South, based on the following 3 findings and subject to the following 6 conditions.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Jennifer?
Sorry, who
It was
was the
Jennifer.
second? Oh, thank you. David Hart,
Yes.
Jennifer George,
Yes.
Cameron Duncan,
Yes.
Ron Mortimer,
Yes.
Steve Wrigley,
Yes.
Lenise Davenport,
Yes.
Danny Schoenfeld.
Yes.
This motion carries.
Thank you. That passes, and good luck. Thank you. The next item on the agenda for the Silver Sage Estates subdivision was withdrawn, if that is correct.
Yes, we've received an email from the applicant in writing confirming that their request for the Silver Sage Estates subdivision, which is located at 10175 South Dimpledale Road, they've asked for the item to be tabled to a date uncertain. As this item has been duly noticed to the public, we can still take public comment tonight for any that is wanting to be given. And the applicant is not here this evening, but Thomas Irvin, who is also the staff planner on this particular item, can provide a brief overview of what's being requested if you want, or we can just move to table the item after taking public comment.
Okay, well, is there anybody here tonight who would like to speak on this item? Please come down and state your name and address for the record, please.
Well, that's a surprise. My name's George Allen, 10190 Majestic Canyon Road, and my property is on the southeast corner. We share a property line with this new subdivision, and I don't have any problem with the subdivision, but many years ago, there was a problem with drainage, and I think it's gonna all be taken care of. I just wanna go on record, but now that it's tabled, it's okay, because I've been working with Jeremy Shipler, another engineer, Tyler, Mason Clark, and they have assured me that my issue with the drainage that occurred, I stood here in 1999 to get that taken care of when Radden developed the property there. And they've assured me, I talked to them today, that it will be taken care of, but I just want to go on record that that will be taken care of, and I think that it will. So that's the only reason that I'm here, and maybe that's part of the reason it was tabled, because I don't think it was part of the plan before, part of the drainage that I'm concerned about. There's other drainage issues on there besides just my property, and of course, the subdivision is great. It's going to be fine the way it's been drawn. So I think it can move forward if they just take care of those drainage issues.
And the three that he had mentioned that he has worked with, I just wanted for the record, those are all three individuals in our public utilities department.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I did submit letters to them that I had before that were from Jim McNulty, Dave Paulson, people that were with Sandy City before. And part of the confusion comes because we have this transition between county and Sandy. So who's in charge of the maintenance? It's changed over the years. So I think we're well underway. But thank you for listening to me.
Thank you. Is there anybody online that would like to make a comment?
If you are joining us via Zoom webinar and would like to speak to this particular item, please use the raise your hand feature now, and we'll address you one at a time. I do see one hand raised. Looks like Doug and Barbara Luton. You may unmute yourself.
Go ahead, you have 2 minutes. Maybe.
Go ahead, Mr. Luton or Miss Luton. You may unmute yourself and go ahead and speak. We can now.
Wonderful. Yeah, Doug and Barbara Luton here at 10174 Majestic Canyon Road, next to George Allen, who just spoke. In reviewing just some of the notes, and didn't have a whole lot of time to review them all, but our only concern, and I hope the subdivision goes ahead, and we're fine with that, is the wildlife corridor. I didn't see that under the staff findings in terms of trying to maintain some type of a corridor for deer to go between, the east and the west into Dimple Dell. And I'm sure that with regard to fencing in the area, I'm not sure if that'll be addressed at all in the upcoming comments.
I don't think, oh, Mike, were you gonna say something?
I was gonna say, if you have answers, we'll address any answers after your comment, but please go ahead and complete your comment.
Just my concern was having trying to establish some type of a wildlife corridor for deer to go between Dimple Dell and to the east.
Sir, do you have any other, we got that one. Do you have any other comments besides that one?
No, that's
okay,
it.
thank you. Great.
Anybody else online?
I'm seeing no other hands raised.
Okay, we'll close it to public comment. Mike or Thomas, do you have any insight on the public or the wildlife corridor?
If you had a chance to review the staff report, I know we haven't really kind of fleshed this one out formally. There are concerns from our public meeting about wildlife transiting through there down to Dimple Dell and back. It's been something we've discussed with the applicant at length. I'm not certain if this is part of the reason they want it to be tabled, but it was something they were told, and they did see the staff report, that it would be highly recommended they provide some kind of a wildlife corridor, or at least some limitations on fencing off part of the north quadrant of the furthest north lot to allow the continuation of what is obviously, everyone in the neighborhood agrees, a primary corridor for mostly deer. And they haven't shown us anything yet, but we'll see when they actually formally do submit it again, and we present it for you then at that time. But it's definitely noted by staff and by the community that is concerned that we want to have looked at.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there, do we need to make a formal motion on the tabling this, or is it just tabled? Can I?
Yeah, you need a formal motion
Can I get someone to?
on both items. So there's two items before you. One is the special exception and as well as the subdivision.
Can someone make that?
So I'll make the motion that we table the Silver Stage Estates subdivision special exceptions and the Silver Stage Estates subdivision preliminary subdivision.
Can you make
review.
that in two separate motions, please?
Sure. I'll start over. I make a motion that we table Silver Stage Estate subdivision special exceptions per the applicant's request.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay.
David Hart,
Yes.
Steve Wrigley,
Yes.
Cameron Duncan,
Yes.
Ron Mortimer,
Yes.
Lenise Davenport,
Yes.
Jennifer George,
Yes.
Danny Schoenfeld.
Yes.
This motion carries.
Okay, then the second motion I'll make is that we table the Silver Sage Estates subdivision, preliminary subdivision review per the applicant's request.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
David Hart,
Yes.
Cameron Duncan,
Yes.
Ron Mortimer,
Yes.
Steve Wrigley,
Yes.
Lenise Davenport,
Yes.
Jennifer George,
Yes.
Danny Schoenfeld.
Yes.
This motion carries.
Thank you. That completes our items on the public notice. We've got administrative business of the February 19th meeting minutes. Can we get those approved?
Motion to approve the minutes?
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
James?
So I gave you kind of what I was in our pre where we had some other time. I can't think of anything else I need to bring up at this point, but just encourage you. It looked like we had most everyone, I think, going to be there Tuesday night, so I appreciate your willingness to come and participate in that. It's a big deal that we have everybody together with each other, and we're going to try as much as we can to do joint ones as we move forward on this, so we try to reduce everybody's time taking up as much as possible. So thank you, and if you can stay for the housing report, we would love to have you do that as well. Thanks for your time.
And then I'm assuming we're having our meeting on the 19th.
Yes, we are. And it'll be a fairly full agenda. So please plan on attending that night as well.
Okay. I'll take one final act or one final motion.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you.